Want to be heard? Give G.I. Wayne a call at 718-664-6015.
Paul Johnson, ChicagoSportsLine.com. I am back from my reign out in Minnesota. 2 weeks of fat camp, watching fat people roll around on a mat. And
hey, easy. I resemble that remark.
Hey,
you miss me?
No hard feelings, but, I got to say this, and I'm talking right now to the soldiers that are overweight and currently out of standard in the military, that you are a shame, or actually, I should say, you have no shame, because is it really that difficult for you to discipline yourself, to stay active? You are obligated to stay within standard, and you can't do it. But anyways, I kind of...
Yeah, military guys, I'll give you that.
And here's what happened. I agitated my back out there after 2 days of training. Oh, no. They finally realized that my orders said something than what they thought they said. And, and I was on painkillers, so that was pretty much my experience. So I still have a Vicodin here, and I feel good.
Party. There you go.
Okay, so anyways, here's what I got. What's going on in the news. We got Roger Clemens, right?
Yeah. It's big news.
Yeah, I think this is horrible news, because you got to think about the fact that there are other players out there, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, who testified, and they
wouldn't say anything, though.
What were their excuses?
They didn't lie.
What were their excuses?
You can't lie to a grand jury, man. You just cannot lie. And they went there on their own will. They didn't have to go. They didn't. I mean, they were requested to go, but they didn't have to answer anything. You saw Mark McGuire wouldn't answer anything. Sosa pretended he couldn't speak English anymore all of a sudden. Miraculous morphing back into only speaking Spanish, because they knew damn well that they were going to lie if they opened their mouth. And Roger Clemens, being Mr. Tough guy, Mr. So cocky and everything else, he said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and talk, and there's no way they're going to catch me. Now he's facing 30 years in prison and $1.5 million in fines because he was lying to a grand jury about something that wasn't banned in baseball at the time. If he would have just come clean, he would have been forgiven by now. You know what I mean? Like, yep. You know how America is. You come clean. America's pretty much going to forgive you. People say they won't, but they will. They will. Mark McGuire apologized for nothing. He just would say, "Oh, I'm sorry about the past," or "I'm sorry about what happened." Like, he wouldn't even address it. He's the hitting coach for the Cardinals now, and he gets an ovation every time they introduce him.
Well,
don't even give me that.
I got something for you. I remember where I was in 2008 while that testimony was going on, and McNamee and Clemens were going back and forth at one another. And I recall it because I had a bad case of this influenza that was going around, and I had just, horrible fever, and all I could do is just lay there and watch and be in and out of sleep. So I just about saw the whole thing. And, I thought about it at the time. I said, why is this so odd? Why is it so peculiar that he saved all of these bits of evidence, the needles, the gauzes? I mean, hello?
Yeah.
He wanted to get him. He wanted to get him, eventually.
I know that, but I mean, I get that. I mean, I understand that, but he was so cocky about the whole thing that he never thought anybody would flip on him, and he never thought anybody would be able to prove that he was lying.
Dude,
I understand that there's more important things in this country than indicting a guy like Roger Clemens, but the point of the matter is, you cannot lie to the grand jury, no matter who you think you are. That's what's being proven here. I mean, look, we all know these guys were dirty, and I understand it was illegal at the time, but honestly, it wasn't banned in baseball, which is ridiculous that you can have something that's illegal to have in the country, and it's not banned by the sport. That just shows the power of the players' union. I mean, you got a guy in Francisco Rodriguez on the Mets who goes and beats the crap out of his girlfriend's dad in the players' lounge and ruptures a tendon in his thumb and is out for the year. And the players' union's filing a grievance so that he can still get paid. I mean, that's how powerful this union is. To give you a more recent example, that's ridiculous. I mean, so that everybody's still on something because you still don't have a urine test for HGH, and the players' union will not allow blood to be drawn yet. So, and they're starting it in the minors now, but I mean, by the time it trickles up, there'll be something else the guys are on. And it's just the way it goes. the cheaters are always a step ahead of the people that are trying to catch them. And that's always going to be the case. But all this proves to me is that Roger Clemens is a smarmy, just cocky, arrogant, lying, cheating bastard who finally got caught. And it sucks because he's the best pitcher of this generation, one of the best that's ever played this game. And this is what he's been reduced to. He is now more of a disgrace than those bloated, big-headed sluggers that he was pitching to in that era, because they weren't dumb enough to lie to a grand jury. What an idiot.
That's really all that you got to say, that you made it clear that you're not very fond of the guy.
Well, how can you be? He lied about cheating. I mean, that makes him a horrible human being. He cheated the sport, made millions upon millions of dollars off of the sport, and then lied to a grand jury about cheating. I mean, how could you be much more of a scumbag than that?
Yeah, they're all scumbags because they all pretty much did the same thing, all of them together. In
I understand that, but they weren't
ways.
dumb enough to lie to. They weren't dumb enough to lie to a grand jury.
Whatever, I
mean, they're all cheaters, but now he's a liar and a cheater, so that's even worse. I mean,
right,
I don't know.
Right, okay. Well, so what's going on with Chicago baseball?
The White Sox are going in the tank that the Cubs already reside in. That's what's going on in Chicago baseball.
Oh, so you are
if the White Sox don't win this game against the Twins tonight, they can kiss it goodbye. I mean, they have had a home series against the Twins last week. Of course, I was at the only game that they won. Go figure. And then a away series in Minnesota this week that they're about to get swept in. It is do or die time right now for the White Sox, and I think that obviously, if you just look at it straight up, I mean, it's obvious that the bullpen is the major problem here. I mean, they can't hold a lead. And your young aces, John Danks and Gavin Floyd, Danks won last week, but he was facing a guy who hadn't started a game in the majors this year. Gavin Floyd cannot pitch in a big game right now. He's looking like the white Javier Vasquez, and just give him a big game and he's not going to be able to perform. And the bullpen is in complete shambles. And what people don't also want to look at is the fact that when the Sox went on their huge run to get to first place, they were beating teams like the Cubs and the Pirates and the Astros. They were playing interleague baseball against National League teams. They ain't playing National League teams the rest of the way. They're playing the Twins and the Rangers and the Yankees and the Red Sox. If they don't win this game today, I don't know if there's enough time for them to turn it around.
Well, you know what? I can tell you one way you can be really successful is if you call your bookie, you got to call your guy, and tell him that you want the Cubs as the losers. So basically take the other team. And I
don't think the odds would be very good for you, though, because they would really have to kick their ass because everybody would be betting against the Cubs.
Well, you know what? You can play money line and you can just put it all out in one shot as opposed to, setting it up there as some type of a parlay.
The damage for the Cubs has already been done. I mean, look, the team was 20 games under 500 before they started selling everybody off. So, I mean, the rest of the season, literally, the only thing you can look at that matters is the development of young players. Anything else that happens with this team, wins and losses, do not matter anymore. The performance of veterans who are not in the long-term plan does not matter anymore. The only thing you can gain from watching the Cubs right now is how are these young players developing, because you're going to have a new manager with mostly a new coaching staff and a roster that's going to get overturned quite a bit for next year. So all these people today that were complaining, they just got swept 4 games by the Padres, who are a first-place team, a playoff contender. They came in here and did their job against a team that they're supposed to beat. All these people on Facebook and Twitter complaining about, they would have had
those are the best.
Billy and all these guys.
Those are the best. Totally.
These people are idiots. And, if they were here, they're still 20 games under. Derek Lee finally takes the trade yesterday. He goes to Atlanta, and he's coming back to Wrigley tomorrow to play against the Cubs. That ought to be interesting. But, they got 3 prospects for him. Look, if they're not going to re-sign him in the offseason, they're going to let him walk anyways. See, these people don't understand. Well, they're just giving up. They're doing this and that. No, you know what? People don't understand. The Cubs haven't been in the tank that much since 1998. They've had a pretty good sustained success for the past 12 seasons. The last year that Dusty was here was horrible, and they rebuilt after that right away and won 2 straight division titles right afterwards. other than that, people don't remember what it was like from about 85 to 97, when that 12-year stretch, when they were doing this every year, unloading people. Like, people just don't remember this. This is what you do to get out of a rut. You get rid of things that you're not going to have back next year. You try to rebuild some of your system that way, and you try to save a little bit of cash along the way. That's good business. They're going to lose whether those guys are here or not. And these moron fans that are getting so upset because Ryan Terrio and Mike Fontenot aren't here anymore are the reason why I'm ashamed to say that I'm a Cubs fan, because they're such idiots. They don't understand the big picture. Those guys are not the long-term future plan for the Cubs. So you get rid of them, you get what you can for them, you save some money, and you continue to lose and play out the string this year and come back next year and try and go back at it again. Because this year's a lost cause.
Paul, I got to
don't want to hear it.
Here.
Fans do not want to hear that.
I got something for you here, man. And you were just explaining to us about what the public is saying on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff.
Oh.
It's like kind of sort of sitting next to that guy at a Cubs game who thinks he knows everything about baseball and that he should be out there managing.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Anyways.
Yeah, good luck with that, buddy. Yeah, those are the best. I love that. But I just, I try to talk some sense into people so that they're not just so angry about this. Like, my anger towards this team ended about a month and a half, 2 months ago, when I realized that they were really bad and they weren't going to turn it around. I'm not angry now. You get rid of these guys, you save some money, and you look forward to the future. That's all you can do, because this is a lost cause right now. I just hope that they don't lose 100 games, because that would be embarrassing.
All right, well, we got White Sox Twins going on tonight. I'm going to have that score.
Game.
I'm going to have that score for you guys here in just a moment. And the Cubs and the Padres, of course, they lost 5-3 today. That one's over. And well, you know what? This is funny because it's like a Minnesota themed show. And coming up after the break, we're going to talk about Brett Favre and how he is pissed off about his attention being shifted towards Rod Blagojevich. No, I'm making that up. Stay right here.